got back from Costco. I had to pick up a few things and I had to return something that we bought. There's Dexter on the counter as usual. So I got 2 loaves of whole wheat bread. I got some nuts, so I got a bag of pistachios there. I got another big bag of cashews. There's a nice big bag of carrots at the back there. 2 things of natural peanut butter. 2 bottles of organic tamari or organic soy sauce. So I'm gonna be using that in the meal prepping portion of the video today, so you'll see how I use that. And I do go through a lot of it week to week, so I grabbed that 2-pack there. Then I got some cucumbers, so I like to take those as a snack to work. I got a case of kombucha there, so that was the ginger kombucha that I showed in my grocery haul video from last week. So that's the case of them there. You get 6 for, I think, $16.99. So that's a really good deal. That's from Costco. I got a nice big bag of quinoa. Got sucked in because it had a Canadian maple leaf on the front, so I got that bag. At the back there, I have a case of organic chocolate soy milk. So those are really good midday if you're having a little bit of a sweet tooth and you just want to grab something that will kind of curb that. I really like to have one of those every day. And then I got these Luke's sprouted protein crackers to have with hummus. There's not really that much protein in them. I think there's only 4 grams per like 8 or 9 crackers, so they're not crazy high in protein, but those are really good with hummus. That's a really good midday vegan snack. Then I got a bag of broccoli florets. I go through a ton of those, and then I just thought I'd show these Puma sports bras that I grabbed. So this was, I think, like $17 or $18, which is a really good price. I'm usually a size extra small. They only came in a small, but I really like the style of them, so I'm gonna see if they fit me. So that is my quick little Costco vegan grocery haul. This week's video, what I wanted to share with you is how I do my vegan meal prepping each week. What I'm going to be making today is super simple, really easy, and doesn't require any complicated recipe. I really try every single week to prepare lots of meals in advance, so I'll either do individual meals that I can just kind of grab and go, or I'll do like a big pot of something like soup or chili. For this week, what I wanted to make was almost like a veggie grain bowl. So what I'm going to be doing is a marinated tofu for my protein. So I have these extra firm packages of tofu here. I'll show you what I do to marinate and bake the tofu in the oven, so I'm gonna make that. I'm also just gonna do really simple, some steamed carrots. I really love carrots. Sometimes I'll roast them in the oven, but I think for today I'm just gonna steam them, keep it nice and simple. I'm gonna do a sauteed rapini. I love to have lots of greens every day, some kind of green vegetable with my lunch and my dinner. So I'm gonna do a sauteed rapini, and I'm gonna put all of that on a base of quinoa. And that way I have a really balanced meal with lots of protein, lots of complex carbs, and a little bit of healthy fat in there. So I'm gonna quickly go and prep all the veggies, and then I'll come back and show you how I put everything together. So I cut up my carrots into little carrot sticks. What I'm gonna do with those is steam them with a little bit of herbamare, and then I really roughly chopped up the rapini. So there's no rhyme, no reason to that. I just cut the ends off and then chopped up the whole bunch. So I have this big pile of rapini. What I'm gonna do with that first is actually just very quickly cook it down in some boiling water, like literally for maybe a minute. Cooking it in some boiling water first just helps to soften the leaves a little bit and removes the bitterness. And then I have my garlic ready to go, chopped up at the end there. And then what I'm gonna do is saute the rapini in a little bit of olive oil and garlic. So before I cook up these veggies, what I'm gonna do is show you how I do my marinated tofu. So the way that I do my marinated baked tofu, there's so many things that you can do with tofu. And I mentioned in a previous video that I know tofu kind of has a bad rap. A lot of people don't like it, or they think it's rubbery, or they just think it's gross. And really it's all in the way that you prepare it. So I'm gonna marinate little strips of extra firm tofu in a spicy soy-based sauce. And it turns out really good. So what I have here are 2 blocks of extra firm tofu. So these are by a brand called Soul Cuisine, and it's an organic extra firm tofu. So that's my favorite kind. And I just took them out of the package. So what I have here is a clean tea towel. And before you marinate tofu, you want to try to get as much moisture and as much of the water out of it as possible. You can buy something called a tofu press, which will actually like press and push the water out of it. I don't actually have one. It's something that I would definitely like to get, but I've never seen one and I've never really ordered one online. So what I usually just do is fold my little tea towel in half here, and then I'm going to take one of the tofu square things, and then I just wrap it in the tea towel, and then I just press it out by hand. So I'm just kind of putting obviously some firm pressure on the little block of tofu to try to squeeze out some of the water. The more water you can get out of the tofu, the more flavor it will reabsorb from your marinade. To be honest with you, I do this really fast, so I just kind of press out as much water as possible, and then sometimes what I'll do is I will actually immediately cut them up and just start getting it marinating. But if you have time to kind of leave either something stacked on top of the tofu, or you can leave it wrapped, or you have a tofu press that you can leave it in, your tofu, the more moisture that comes out of it, the more of the flavor of your marinade it will absorb. So it's not really the best idea to do it so fast, but that's just what I do to save time. Okay, so once you have them a little drier, I'm just gonna come over here. Actually, I'll leave that there for now. So I have my Pyrex, I think this is a 9x13 pan. So this is the biggest glass Pyrex dish I have, and that's what I marinate my tofu in. So I have that there, and what I'm gonna do is just cut the little tofu brick thing right down the middle. So you have these two kind of larger slices, and then just putting them back together, and I'm gonna just slice down the line to make these little strip things. And then I just sort of lay them side by side in the pan. And when I'm meal prepping for the week, I'll usually do 2 of the little brick things of tofu. What do you call them? A block. That's what everybody calls them online. Tofu block. So I usually use 2 of them, and they generally will fit in this larger pan. If you have a bigger one than this, you might want to use that. It's always good to have a little bit of space between each little slice here so they absorb lots of the marinade. And then I'll take the second one here, and same thing, I'm just kind of cutting it right down the middle and then slicing it into these little strips. So you can do it in cubes, you can do it in little strips, you can kind of do really whatever, and then get it in your pan there. I'm no chef, by the way. Like, I do everything I tend to do everything like really quickly and sort of as simply as possible, especially for my own meals that I'm going to be eating during the week. So once I have my little tofu strips in my Pyrex dish here, again, there's no rhyme, no reason to this. What I do is I coat them in an organic soy sauce. So I have a bottle that I'm just finishing up here, and I have a new one because I'm probably going to need more. Some apple cider vinegar, and for this week what I'm going to be doing is a sort of spicy tofu. So this is actually a chicken wing marinade that I bought. It is vegan, it's organic, it's really yummy. There's no garbage in it, like no crappy ingredients. It's GMO free. All it is red peppers, vinegar, sweet bell peppers, cayenne peppers, chili peppers, ground black pepper, vinegar, onion, garlic, kosher salt, paprika, parsley, and a little bit of cane sugar. So this is really good. You could easily make your own by pureeing all of those ingredients or some combination of them, but I just kind of grabbed this on a whim one day just to kind of see how it was. So I'm going to throw that into the mix as well, just to make my tofu a little more spicy, which I really like. You can omit that, absolutely, but I like it a little spicy. Another thing that I'll often add is lemon juice. I thought I had lemons. I went out to the store today, but I didn't grab lemons. I thought I had some, and unfortunately I didn't. So normally I'll squeeze the juice of half of a lemon into my marinade, but this will be fine for today. So really all I do, I have my tofu in the pan here, and I literally just dump the ingredients on top. So you can prepare the marinade in like a separate bowl and actually like whisk it and mix it together properly, but who has time for that, right? So what I do is I just drizzle my soy sauce on there, coat everything. It doesn't have to be like drenched. I'll just finish this bottle, and that should actually be enough. So yeah, it doesn't have to be drenched in the soy sauce because you're gonna add this other stuff. So then I'll take my apple cider vinegar, which I'm almost running out of here. And you just want a little bit of this. I would use even less than I am today if I had a lemon juice. This just gives it a little bit of a tangy sort of flavor. You can also use rice vinegar. Yeah, like I said, I would use even less vinegar if I had a lemon, but oops. But yeah, I don't have a lemon, so we're just gonna use what we have and it'll turn out. And then a bit of this wing sauce. So if you're using, you could even just use Tabasco sauce. You could probably just use Frank's Red Hot. I've done it with just sriracha sauce before. The thing with sriracha though, it's kind of like, it's thick, like it's kind of chunky, so it doesn't really absorb. I find that the little pepper flakes or whatever is in it. It just kind of sits on top of the tofu and it doesn't absorb. This specific one is sort of liquidy enough that it does get absorbed into the tofu. It's a little on the thicker side, so it leaves a bit of a spicy coating, but it turns out really, really good when you bake it in the oven. So I'm just drizzling that on. And you can use as much as you want or as little as you want. And the brand on this is Uncle Dougie's Wicked Good No Fry Wing Marinade. I just got this at my local grocery store. I don't know if it was in the health food section or like by the regular like hot sauces and stuff. I think they make a bunch that are not vegan, but this one was, and I thought, oh, that looks like really yummy and spicy. I bet it would work well on the tofu, so I grabbed it just to try, and it was actually really good. I would probably repurchase that. And my other soy sauce is emptied out there, so I'm just gonna open this new one and just top it up a little bit so that it's nice and, you want the bottom of your pan to sort of be full of liquid, whatever combination of stuff you're using. So I'm just gonna make sure that that's nice and coated. And that's it. That's my super easy tofu marinade made all in one pan. And then literally all I do is I just kind of turn it a few times to coat the tops of the tofu. So I should mention too, the longer that you leave your tofu marinating in the pan with all the ingredients, the more flavorful it's going to be. It's going to have a chance to absorb more of the sauces and the flavors and that you're using. So definitely try to leave it in there if you can. You can put it in the fridge, you can just soak it overnight or even just for a few hours. So I'm going to start working on the other veggies and the other stuff for my veggie tofu grain bowl, meal prep, whatever. And I'm going to preheat the oven to 400 degrees, and then by the time that I'm done with everything else and have the oven nice and hot, these are going to be ready to come out of the pan and go in the oven. I'm going to start getting the veggies ready for the grain bowls. So I showed you that I have all my rapini chopped up, and then I have this little bowl of little carrot, like I cut them into little sticks. So I'm going to steam these, and I'm also going to put these in a little bit of boiling water. So I'm just waiting for my water to boil. I'm also going to make some quinoa as the base for my grain bowl. So I'll put a layer of this at the bottom, then I'll put all my veggies on the top. What I'm going to do first is just cook some of the rapini in a little bit of the boiling water just to soften it and to take some of the bitterness out. And I'm going to steam the carrots with some herbamare until they're nice and soft. I also need to preheat my oven right now, so I'm going to set it to 400 degrees. To preheat, and then once that's ready and I'm kind of done with the veggies cooking, we'll get the tofu in there, and that's going to cook for about 20 minutes. There's the rapini simmering away in some boiling water. Let that cook maybe just for a minute or two, just until it's a little bit softer, and then I'll strain out all of the boiling water, and then we're gonna come back over here and saute that in a pan with some olive oil. And then at the back here, I have my carrots steaming away, so I just have those in a smaller pot with the lid completely on, and I'm just keeping an eye on that so it doesn't boil over. I drained out the rapini in the sink to take all the water out of the pan, and then I just put a little bit of olive oil and some chopped up garlic in the bottom of my pan here, and then once the garlic softens a little bit, I'll add the rapini back into the pan and just saute it in that, and that's super yummy. It's really good, and I'm going to throw some chili flakes in there as well. You don't want to burn the garlic, so don't leave it in there for too long. And I'm just grabbing the rapini in the sink, and I'll throw that in there. Mix that up. I'm just gonna throw in some crushed pepper flakes to make it a little bit spicy, and I'll do the same with a little bit of herbamare. So I'm just gonna throw that in just to give it a little bit of flavor. You can skip the chili flakes if you don't like it spicy, but I like everything to be pretty spicy, so I put quite a few in there. And I'll just stir that around, and then on sort of like a low heat, I'll kind of just let that continue to soften a little bit. The carrots should be pretty much done. I'm just gonna poke. Yeah, so the carrots should be pretty good. So I still had a little bit of this other quinoa left over, so I'm not going to open the new bag that I had from Costco yet. So this one says, in a small saucepan, bring 2 cups of water to a boil. So I have my 2 cups of water here, and then stir in 1 1/4 cups of quinoa. So I have a cup measured out here, and then I'll add the other 1/4 cup once I pour that out. So when you make quinoa, you do want the cooking ratios to be pretty accurate. So obviously super easy, always just follow the instructions on the pack. I always add just a little bit of extra water water because I don't want my quinoa to stick to the bottom of my pan. So I always find if I add like literally just a little bit of extra water, it's like an insurance policy so that if I leave the quinoa cooking for too long, it's not going to stick to the bottom of my pan and create a disaster. But you do want to stick to the ratios that it suggests on the package so that it cooks properly. I'm starving and I'm waiting for my quinoa to cook over there. So I'm having these new crackers I picked up at Costco today. So these are the Luke's Sprouted Protein Crackers, multigrain seed and bean crackers. Snack like a kid, live like a grown-up. They're good. I'm eating them with these little mini hummuses, which I also get from Costco. I had these in my fridge already, but that's them there. You get, how many do you get in here? I can't see how many you get. I ripped like the top of the box off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12 maybe? I think you get 12 and they're $5.99 and you get these little single serving hummus containers. I don't really think they're single serving. Like I could eat this 2 or 3 times, like use this for like 2 or 3 days of snacks, but my husband will finish a whole one at once. So these are really good to throw in lunches with some of these crackers that you can get at Costco. So today I got the Sprouted Protein Crackers, but they have chickpea ones, they have beet ones, sweet potato, like they almost taste like a sweet potato like tortilla chip. So my quinoa just needs a few minutes more on the stove top to finish cooking, and my oven's preheated to 400 degrees, so I'm gonna start getting my tofu out of the marinade pan here to get in the oven to cook. So I just have these little mini tongs, and I'm just gonna grab each piece of tofu and place it down on this pan, which I have a piece of parchment paper on. And you want them to be sort of evenly spaced out, I guess you could say. I'm just gonna get all these on there. And once again, I'll say it again, the longer you can leave your tofu in the marinade, the better. But for the sake of the video and just for time today, because I still have to make muffins, I still have to clean my house, I'm just gonna get these going in the oven. I think if you're kind of new to eating tofu as well, you might be better to leave them in the marinade as long as you can, so it picks up a lot of the different flavors. Obviously, if you take these out of the marinade really soon, or if you don't really let it soak up enough of the flavor, your tofu might be a little more bland or a little more boring, which like I don't really care. These are gonna go in the oven for 20 minutes total, so I usually check them after about 10 minutes and kind of flip them all around a little bit. Here's what I'll do is I'll take my pan, and it has obviously a lot of the marinade left, and I'll just kind of scoop it on to the tops of the tofu, and that just adds a little extra flavor as well. God, that quinoa sounds like it's gonna boil over. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's like really aggressively boiling in that pot. So once everything's cooked, we're gonna put it out into our containers. So starting with the quinoa, this just came off the stove top. And I'm just gonna put a layer of quinoa on the bottom of each container. And I usually do 4 of these at a time. I don't really like doing any more than that because, I don't know, I don't like I don't want to make all of this on like a Monday or Tuesday. That's when I'm off work. I don't want to make all this on a Monday or Tuesday and then have it sit for like 5-6 days in the fridge. So I usually just do 4 at a time. Sometimes I'll take 2, my husband will take 2 or whatever. And then on top of the quinoa, I'm going to put my rapini. So that'll just go literally right on top. I could have probably done 2 heads of rapini, but whatever. And then I have my carrots, so I just have them in this little container here. So I added a little bit of olive oil and herb amare to the steamed carrots, just to get a little bit of extra flavor, some healthy fat. I'm just gonna throw those in the container. And I just took the tofu out of the oven, so that's the next thing to go in the bowl. So I'll usually put like 6 or 8 little strips of marinated tofu into each container. And that's a really good source of protein. So I love this style of meal prepping, because you get your good complex carbs from the carrots, the quinoa, or really all the veggies. Protein, a little bit of healthy fat with the olive oil that I used. Sometimes what I'll even do is make like a cashew base, like dressing or sauce to put on. I'm not gonna bother with that this time, but that's another really good way to get in some healthy fats. You can just drizzle it with olive oil or like an olive oil based sauce or dressing. Or sometimes I'll even just eat like a cut up avocado on top of this. And like, look at how nice that is. I'm so excited to eat these. And then every morning when I grab one, it just feels good to have something ready to go in the fridge that you know is super healthy. It's awesome in the morning. You just grab one of these containers, you know, you have a nice big meal. It's nice and healthy. It's super clean, and it's gonna be super filling. And that way you don't have to be rushing around every morning looking for food. You know what happens midday when you're starving and you didn't bring anything to work, or you don't have anything prepared in the fridge, you just kind of start eating whatever. This really helps you avoid doing that, keeps you on track with your healthy eating, helps you get enough calories if you're very active. Doing your meals in advance can be really important to ensure that you're getting the results that you want from your fitness routine. So I really like doing this. It's a super easy way to make sure that you're getting your healthy meals. You can plan them in advance, head to the grocery store, get what you need, come home immediately, cook it all and get it all ready, and then they are ready to go in the fridge for the week. Or you can do it a couple times a week. Saw my freezer smoothie video. That's another thing that I'll do in addition to these little container meals. Sometimes I'll make muffins, as I mentioned earlier, and just little snacks and things like that to have ready to go in the pantry or the fridge. That way you have healthy food and healthy snacks for the whole week, especially if you're maybe new to veganism and you're not really sure what to eat. Hopefully this gave you maybe a good example of an average meal. This is just what works for me. This is what I like to eat. I eat pretty plain, clean, basic meals during the week. This is obviously not the only thing that I eat. This is a pretty plain meal, but I thought, you know what, that's a really easy thing to make. Super basic and also very balanced and healthy. So I thought that this would be a really great example of something to show you. Thank you so much to anyone who has subscribed to my channel already. I really, really appreciate it. But if you haven't yet and you have a Gmail account, I would really appreciate if you considered subscribing to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram. My handle is @FitVeganFreak, and that's where I post most of my meals and stuff I'm eating, or you know, recipes or whatever. So follow me there if you haven't already, and you'll see lots of good stuff there as well. So thanks again for watching, and have a great day.